Hello, my friends. How are you? Hiker Dave here. I am taking advantage of the weather, and I want to show you guys a spot where me and my son and my nephew had a very strange occurrence happen out here. This is McCabe Forest near my home. It's where I'm doing the old marble experiment. I haven't been out this way, I'm going to say, in maybe 2.5, 3 years since I've been on this side of the nature preserve. But I want to show you, I'm hearing like a little like knocking, like as soon as I was ready to turn the camera on, I'm hearing like very low knocking. And of course it's coming from the ridge I wanted to show you that I talked about in my last video when I mentioned that spot where I put the marbles on that boulder. There's a ridge about 100 yards away. And I mentioned that from time to time, I feel really uneasy all of a sudden. From time to time, I would see something up on that ridge, where a couple of times I actually thought I saw something poking its head up and then dropping back down and then poking its head up and then dropping back down. But it doesn't happen every time, of course. It's only happened to me a handful of times. But this is, I'm just about to that ridge that I'm speaking about. So my marbles on the boulder are off that way. Boy, this looks really different. So there's no marked trail out here for the spot I'm at, but you can kind of see where it's kind of worn down. I think maybe other hikers or something have worn down this little area. But this is the top of said ridge. Now, I'm not going to walk all the way across the whole ridge, but you can, I don't know if you can really tell on video, this drops down and my marbles in the river are off that way 100 yards or so. But I want to show you, that's just briefly wanted to show you guys that, but I want to take you to a spot out here that, yeah, you could tell that this, I think this might be a very old logging, an old-time logging road. You could kind of see it. It looks like a trail. It's not a marked trail, but I think it was maybe an old logging trail back in the day. But I want to show you a place. So I've talked many times, if you're a return victim on my channel, there's a place out here near the boulder that I'm talking about where I have the marbles, that there was a bunch of teepee structures. There was 4 in total. 3 of them were large, or fairly large. Where am I now? How did I? So, and then there's the small one that I pointed out before. And so this is the same forest, But way off the beaten trail was another teepee structure, but it was nowhere near the other structures that I have showed you guys on multiple occasions. Trying to get my way back to that trail. Where is it? Oh, and as well, this kind of trail that I'm not following at all. Trying to find my way. Okay, there it is. And I had hiked out here many times, and there was never a teepee structure out this way. And one day I came out here hiking, and I'm on this side of the park, or forest, and I stumbled upon another teepee structure that wasn't there. So I also want to say that what happened to me, my son, and my nephew was about 3 years ago. I just want to take you to the spot where this happened. It's really interesting. The story, I mean. It looks so different out here. It's been so long. So I don't know if the mosquitoes have given up on me or they've had their fill. But now it's these black flies. They're like bigger than a gnat, but not as large as a housefly. Almost like it's smaller than a horsefly, but it looks like a horsefly. I have a anonymous subscriber. Okay, that tree was never like that. But that sure is a dead tree, all right. I have an anonymous subscriber that wants to send me, I guess it's not a gimbal, but it's a stabilizer. Wow, I don't remember any of that. But it will stabilize my video. I do try very hard to not to shake so much. Wow, what happened to there's no discernible trail that That's very strange. Why is all this stuff in the way? And this too was almost like oh wow. This was almost too like an old logging road or something. But there's so much debris in the path now. Look at this. Look at this bend, you guys. It goes from here. Holy jabroni. All the way over there. So I think it was like 2022 that me and my son and my nephew were hiking out here. And we started to hear whistles. Like a human whistle, like someone would whistle for a dog. Like, you know, that was a sad attempt at a whistle. It sounded just like a human whistle. There's an old break that's been there forever, since I can remember anyways. And that, wow, that's quite an X that I never saw before. Hmm. Well, whoa. What in the heck is going on with my phone? That was, sheesh. So so we're hearing a whistle, and my son's like, "Dad, did you hear that?" I go, "Yeah, that sounds like somebody whistling." And I'm like, I didn't see any cars in the parking lot, or anybody else at the trailhead. And we hadn't bumped into anybody. So this is very close to the spot. So this area, this old logging road, again, this is not a trail that's on the map or anything, because there is a map for this park or nature preserve. Hey, bear. So we took this left here, and we're walking down. Now, all three of us at the time were carrying personal protection devices. And we're walking, and I didn't hear the whistle when my son heard it. And then as we're getting down here, we're kind of walking in a straight line. Everybody hears a whistle over this way. And I looked at Grady. I said, "That I heard. Definitely heard that." And we stopped. And then we hear a whistle over here, up on that hill. And all three of us turned and looked up that hill when we heard the whistle. And I want to say we were probably right about here on the trail. And as we're looking up on that hill, up that way, it's actually another little kind of ridge line up there. All of a sudden, we're looking up there and we hear crashing. We turn and we look up, and up in that huge tree, that big old tree, this massive limb comes crashing down to the ground. So we had our back to this when that limb came crashing down. Now we're all facing this way when the last whistle we heard was coming from that way. Our attention is averted this way, and then everybody grabs their personal protection device, but we're not seeing anything out of the ordinary other than a massive limb coming crashing down. And then a third whistle comes from that direction. And we're freaking out, and we're like, all of a sudden, huddled together in a three-person little huddled mass. And we're like, what is going on? And I mean, I'm like, okay, that was completely natural, guys. Don't worry, that was a totally natural occurrence. A limb had broken off. I mean, there wasn't a speck of wind that day, too, because that was something that, of course, we all would have pointed out, boy, it's so windy, it ripped a limb down. But that's not the case. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story, and we continued on this way. And it was before that hike that I had already discovered a teepee structure out this way. And I was just taking the kids, well, at the time, I mean, they're both in their almost mid-20s now, but, you know, they were 20-somethings, and they wanted to go with Hiker Dave out and to check out these teepee structures. So all three of us were a little freaked out at that time, and we're all, you know, rationalizing away what, you know, that it's natural for limbs to break and for trees to fall and stuff like that. And I just thought it was an interesting story, and I wanted to tell you guys about that story. I don't know if I had ever told it. I might have. So here is the fifth teepee structure. And I hung something off of this structure, a broken walking stick that I had that has the little lanyard on the wrist. I hung it here 3 years ago, and I'm wondering if it's still here. I don't see it. It was hanging on one of these by its lanyard. It was only about 1.5 feet long, and I don't see it on the ground. Of course, somebody, another hiker could have come out here and grabbed it. Well, it is gone. Or I should say I don't see it. I wonder if it's maybe around the back. I don't see it anywhere. It's obviously it's about 1 foot, about 1.5 feet long, and it's like you can tell that it's been sanded and probably some wood stain on it, so you can obviously tell that it's not natural. I don't see it. And again, this is another spot too that I came out here and I took a friend of mine from work, and he was very into, he was not into Bigfoot, but he was very interested in the area. And I had that walking stick. It's like a Walmart, $12 walking stick, but I showed him that teepee structure, and he's like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm walking out this way. Now, about 75 yards in front of me, it turns into swamp and just marsh. And this is kind of the spot where I'll just stop. I mean, you can, as I get up to it, you'll notice this is not really very inviting. I mean, if I had my muck boots on or whatever, I would hike through that. But that's not my intention today. So now I was with this friend from work, and we were talking about tree knocks. I said, oh, I'll show you what I mean. I don't know if this is the exact tree, but I took my walking stick and I slammed it against the side of the tree, made a loud knock, but it broke. It broke the walking stick. And we're standing here in silence for, I don't know, maybe 20 Mississippis. And off in the distance this way, there was a return knock. And he looked at me like he turned white as a ghost. He's like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I said, yes, I heard it. And it is one of the very few times I've ever did a wood knock and had a return knock. Now, could it have been, there is maybe a half a mile to a mile that way, there's a very large river. It might even be the Contacook River. Maybe somebody was fishing there or was hiking out that way, and they decided to knock a tree with another, a stick or something like that. But yeah, nonetheless, it did happen, and it might be the only time it's ever happened to me where I actually got a reply. Very interesting. And I was talking to my buddy Gary about wood knocks and rock clacks, which I've had on occasion, not in this forest, in another forest down in Massachusetts, where I was hiking and I started hearing what sounded like two rocks being hit together really fast. Click, 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 like a Morse code or something, right? I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird, but whatever. And as the years, that was 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even 8. And as time went on, somebody, this is not my original thought, you guys, but I just want to be completely honest with you that this isn't something that I came up with. But when I heard it, it was like light dawns on marble head. I don't remember where I heard it, but somebody had mentioned that wood knocks, possibly, since no one's ever seen a Bigfoot hit a tree with a large stick or a log, that is it possible that Sasquatch make that wood knock sound vocally? I'm like, boy, that's something that I never thought of. Like, I mean, I had a friend who could make a popping sound with his mouth by putting his finger on the side of his cheek, and he could make a pop that was wicked loud. And I remember thinking, wow, I think that's something that should be taken into consideration, that possibly, I'm not saying all, but there could be, I can see that it could be possible that Sasquatch are making that knocking sound by using their mouth, and maybe that they're actually not hitting a log against a tree, that they're actually doing that with their mouth or their vocals. I don't know. It was just a thought, you guys. I thought I'd put it out there. And I did want to say, if anybody stuck around this long, the reason why I make these videos back to back to back so close to each other is because of the weather. There's very low humidity right now up here in New Hampshire. I'm kind of in the Monadnock Valley region of New Hampshire. And I think it's only like 73 or 74 degrees. Extremely low humidity. And it's just so comfortable. I mean, I'm sweating my britches off right now, but that's because I sweat like a maniac anyways. But it's just a really nice, comfortable, it's got a nice little breeze. And it makes for a very comfortable hike. It's been a long time since I've been out this way. All right, I do want to get back to the house. My son wants to go fishing. So I said, yeah, let me go for a hike. I want to take advantage of the weather, go for a nice forest hike. And by gummit, that's what I did. I want to check out that X again. Where was it? Oh, actually, I think I have to cross that little tiny little stream. Oh, yeah, and that down tree is up here. Oh, yeah, there's that X. Let me get a little closer to that, check it out. Oh, okay, I can see where that tree came from, that little guy. I don't know if that lives there. Oh yeah, I think that is rooted in the ground there. Anywho. Oh, I was talking about the anonymous subscriber that is sending me a stabilizer. I try so hard not to make my videos shaky, just because it's annoying, and like just I know that there are those out there that have a problem with the shakiness on a video where people get nauseous. So I try not to, but this anonymous subscriber is sending me this stabilizer. It's kind of like a gimbal, but I think gimbal is just a brand name. But I'm very excited to use that so my videos aren't so darn shaky. Some of the shakiness, you underestimated my shakiness. Some of the shaking is definitely because I've got mosquitoes and bugs flying around me. But I can't blame that, because in general, it's just because it's hard to walk with a phone on the selfie stick and not have it shake a little bit. This video is not too long. Oh, no, your sister, that's good on the knee. You know what? That's really the best place to smash yourself on a log is your kneecap, because, you know, I don't need that. I have another one I can use, right? That's going to leave a mark. Whoa. Look at the treacherous terrain, guys. God, if I fall in that teaspoon of water, you'll never see me. Ooh. That was a good one. That was a good catch. So hopefully, guys, the next video that I come out with will be so nice and stable that you're going to think I hired a cinematographer, a guy to hold the camera for me. Oh, I hear the road. I must be getting fairly. Yeah, so I know there's a road out that way. That's Route 202. Oh, yeah, I hear a big truck. No Jake brake there, big guy. Something strange happened to me last night. Really quick before I go. I was talking to a gentleman on the phone that got in touch with me through my comments, and I gave him my email and we exchanged numbers. And I was in my living room. We're talking about Sasquatch and that it'll follow people home. And I'm like, well, that's crazy if that's a thing, you know. So I hung up the phone. We talked for about maybe half an hour or so. It was about 11 o'clock last night. I'm opening one of the windows to get a cross breeze in my living room. And I hear, it sounded like a voice outside my window. I couldn't hear what it was saying, but it was like one word. I don't know what it was. And I look out my window, and of course, I'm in a lighted living room. I can't see anything out the window. I grab a flashlight. I'm looking out the window, nothing. I don't see anything. As I turn, my TV shuts off. And I'm looking at my TV, and I'm looking at the remote. I'm nowhere near the remote, but the TV shut off. And I remember I said out loud, all right, Bigfoot, I don't mind us interacting, but please don't scare me. I don't want to be scared. And of course, it's ridiculous to think that Sasquatch shut off my TV, but I had to kind of chuckle to myself and thinking, I'm talking to Bigfoot, asking him not to scare me. All right, you guys, I'm going to go fishing with my son. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking. I really do appreciate it, and your positive comments. Leave a comment. What do you think? Did Bigfoot follow me home and lure me to my living room window so we could shut my TV off and scare the living bejesus out of me? All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. If I can I'll definitely see you on the next one. Let's try it again.